Welcome back to another Flix Frog Top 10. Of course, this is the top 10 Best Picture nominations for 2024. I first started this 2 years ago, and I'm loving it, so I'm going to keep on doing it. And if you're here, you're loving it too, so thanks for being with me. And to recap, of course, this top 10 is my choice in terms of favorite Best Picture nominees, not what I necessarily think is going to win Best Picture, because, the Academy votes for who they're going to vote for. But of course, I have my own personal favorites. And it'll go in order. 10 is the least favorite, 1 is my favorite, and so on and so forth. So, of course, I like to start my top 10 with a little bit of trivia. And this year, we're going to start it with the double duty. So this is the actors who have appeared in more than one Best Picture nominee. And there's only 2 this year. Sandra Hüller, who appeared in Anatomy of a Fall and The Zone of Interest, and Issa Rae, who appeared in Barbie and American Fiction. So those are the only 2 actors to appear in multiple Best Picture nominations this year. And my favorite trivia, tying Best Picture nominees to Marvel movies. In today's landscape, almost every actor has been in some type of Marvel movie, whether it's the MCU or pre-MCU. So we're going to go ahead and start that list now. Greta Lee, who is in Past Lives. She portrayed Lila in the Spider-Verse movies. Going on to American Fiction, Jeffrey Wright. He plays the Watcher in the What If series. Sterling K. Brown. He portrayed Njobu in Black Panther. Issa Rae, of course. She portrayed Jessica Drew in the Spider-Verse movies. Moving on to Barbie. And sticking with Issa Rae, portrayed Jessica Drew in Across the Spider-Verse, like I said. Alexandra Shipp, she portrayed Storm in the X-Men prequel movies. Simu Liu portrayed Shang-Chi, of course, in Shang-Chi. Kingsley Ben-Adir portrayed Gravik in Secret Invasion. Ariana Greenblatt, she portrayed young Gamora in Infinity War. Going on to The Holdovers. Only one here, Paul Giamatti. He portrayed the Rhino in The Amazing Spider-Man 2. And going on to Killers of the Flower Moon, also one here, Tantu Cardinal. She portrayed Chula, Grandma Chula, in Echo. Going to Poor Things. Of course, we got Emma Stone. She portrayed Gwen Stacy in the Amazing Spider-Man movies. Mark Ruffalo, who portrayed the Hulk in the MCU Avengers movies and whatever other movies he popped up in throughout that. And Willem Dafoe, the OG Green Goblin, most recently appeared in Spider-Man No Way Home. So, nice to see him. Maestro, this is another one-stop. Bradley Cooper, who is also the director. He was Rocket Raccoon in the Guardians of the Galaxy movies and whatever other movies he popped up in, of course. Now, this is the most. Oppenheimer. Tons and tons of people in this one. You got RDJ, who portrayed Iron Man throughout the MCU before his character's death. Florence Pugh, who portrayed Yelena Belova. She was in Black Widow, and she was in the Hawkeye series. James Dawsey, he portrays Edwin Jarvis, who the robot Jarvis is based off of. Of course, he appeared in Avengers Endgame and Agent Carter. David Dastmalchian, he's Kurt in Ant-Man, of course. And Dane DeHaan portrayed Harry Osborn in The Amazing Spider-Man 2. And last but not least, and I hope he comes back for the next Thor film, Kenneth Branagh. He has not starred in any Marvel movies, but he was the director of the first Thor film. So I think they need to bring him back. And that's it for the trivia section. And we're going to get into my list of top 10 Best Picture nominees 2024. Here we go. Number 10, Poor Things. Directed by Yorgos Lanthimos, starring Emma Stone, Mark Ruffalo, and Willem Dafoe. I did not like this movie. It wasn't for me. I just found it quite boring and oversexed. Coming from me, that's odd. But yeah, it was just a little too much for me, and I didn't really care for the story. I know it's supposed to be based off of like Frankenstein and kind of the Bride of Frankenstein, and there's like a lot of other stuff about, women's rights in there, rights to their bodies, rights to, do what they want. I just don't think it personally came together as a great movie for me. It kind of reminds me of The Favorite, which I also did not like, which was also another Yorgos Lanthimos movie. They're about the same for me. Really didn't like that one. Really didn't like this one. Of course, the Academy loves this one. You got Emma Stone, potentially might get the Best Lead Actress nomination. This might win Best Picture. I don't think it will. I'm not going to say who I think is going to win until the very end. But yeah, that's just what I thought about this one. Number 9, Maestro. directed by Bradley Cooper, also starring Bradley Cooper, Carey Mulligan, Matt Bomer, Maya Hawke, and Sarah Silverman. I'm not sure if this is his directorial debut. It's not. I just remember his directorial debut was A Star Is Born, which I really enjoyed. And I think this movie is also very well directed. I think Bradley Cooper is one of those actors who is going to become a great director as well. He's probably going to still act, of course, but he will shift a lot of his attention towards his directing. I think it just wasn't for me. I didn't really care for the story or the character. But I think as an expression of Cooper's directorial prowess, this is a great movie for him. For him to get a Best Picture nominee under his belt is really great. So good on Bradley Cooper for that. The movie was fine. It just, it was not something I thought was that great of a movie. It was a little boring at times. Number 8, The Zone of Interest, directed by Jonathan Glazer, starring Christian Friedel and Sandra Hüller. This is a co-production between United Kingdom and Poland, so it is mostly in another language. And I thought the movie was fine. Again, quite boring at times, but I thought it was just wow. Like this movie's, it's like mostly during the daytime, but it is dark. It is so dark. And the basic plot is about a family who the husband, he's a Nazi. He works for Hitler and he helps run like Auschwitz. And they live right next door to Auschwitz in like this nice house. And what makes this movie so dark is you can hear everything that's going on in Auschwitz in the background. Like Jews just being shot for no reason. Of course, all the other horrible atrocities. They talk about the creation of the crematoriums. There's a whole thing about, ashes being dumped in a river. The wife makes like a comment when like their Jewish maid, who I'm pretty sure is being kept alive just to be their maid, does something that she doesn't like. She says, "I'll have my husband spread your ashes in the field." It is like dark. Like the fact that these people, that all this is going on and all this lady cared about was keeping her house. It's just so dark. And it's just a little slow for me. I think there is a way you could have made this film a little more of a thriller, but like wow, like if you did not know about the whole Auschwitz parts, if that was found out at the end, like this whole time they were next door to Auschwitz, I think something like that would have made this a better movie. But wow, like it's just so dark. And what was even darker to me, I thought this was a made up story. This is based on like real events. I mean, I know the Holocaust is a real event, I know that, but like the fact that Rudolf Haas was a real guy in the Nazi party, like he was real. So I just found that interesting. Like I said, just a little slow for me. Just wasn't my favorite, but just the knowledge I gained was good. The movie, well directed, but man, like just to think, like there's a line that stood out to me where she's just talking about, "Oh, how you like these curtains? Oh, they're great. I wanted some other ones, They were just selling these Jewish people stuff, but I got outbid." And they're just casually talking about it. But when they took that stuff from the Jewish community when they sent them to the camp. So all the stuff in their homes, they just sold to like the regular Germans. Basically stole it from them and said, "Here, you guys pay for this." That's how dark this time was in Germany. Just, whew. But yeah, so if you like history, I'd check it out. But it is slow. Number 7, Barbie, directed by Greta Gerwig, starring Margot Robbie, America Ferrera, Ryan Gosling, Michael Cera, Kate McKinnon, Issa Rae, many, many other people, Simu Liu. This film is just packed with stars. And it's enjoyable for what it is. It's not necessarily for me. I laughed more than I didn't, so that was good. I think Greta Gerwig is a fantastic director. She did Little Women, of course, which is like one of my favorite movies of all time. And I think her stock as director, of course, is gonna keep going up. She's doing like those Chronicles of Narnia movies next for Netflix. I think she could be a saving grace for Sony. They have that Silk Spider Society show that they're not sure what they're gonna do with now after the failure of Madam Web. I say you contact Greta Gerwig, have her direct Silk Spider Society, and make it a movie, and you're back on track. And I know they had that Spider-Woman movie they were doing as well. I'm not sure if that's even happening anymore since they're like failing at everything to do. But yeah, back to Barbie. Laughed more than I didn't. And it's the highest grossing movie of last year, like over $1 billion. And it's the highest grossing movie on this list. It's just in terms of like my enjoyment, there are movies that I did enjoy better than this. But what's great is we get to hear Ryan Gosling sing "I'm Just Ken" at the Oscars, so that's cool. And I'd be down to see a Barbie 2 or a Ken movie, however they're going to make it. Just don't necessarily try and recreate the magic. Try and do something new that keeps the same flavor. So hopefully they can make another $1 billion. I mean, we'll see. Number 6, Anatomy of a Fall, directed by Justine Triet. This is a French film, and of course it stars Sandra Hüller, who was in The Zone of Interest. It also stars Swan Arlaud and Milo Macaro Greiner. I'm not sure if I'm saying their names correctly. I apologize if I'm butchering them. But it's a legal drama. It's about a woman whose husband commits suicide, but then the state or whatever, I'm not sure how it is in France, they think, oh, she may have actually killed him, or she may have caused, his death, and it's a homicide actually. So she basically has to get her friend to prove her innocence in court. I love a good legal drama. I love seeing how they do this, and I think it's great. I think it was a really enjoyable movie. Like, the fact, and it just says a lot about the justice system, the fact that they try to take all these small incidents and blow them up to prove your guilt. Like her and her husband, they didn't have the best relationship. You can see it in the movie. They didn't have the best relationship. They were probably moving towards a divorce. There's an issue of something that happened with their son that neither of them have really been able to let go. And the court, or the prosecution, tries to take like these little arguments they had and blow it up to be like, this was an awful marriage and you just wanted to get rid of him. And it's like, that's not, you can't, and she explains it in the movie. She's like, no, you can't do that. You can't take a small thing and try to frame our whole marriage around that. Yes, we had ups, we had downs. And I'm sad that he killed himself. But that's not me. And I'm not going to spoil anything about, the whole case. But it was very good to watch. It was enjoyable. It is in a different language, of course. Mostly they do speak some English. I really like the acting in it. And yeah, Anatomy of a Fall. I did hear like a lot of friends talk. I saw this. This is the last movie I actually was able to watch with the Best Picture nominees. And a lot of my critics group friends were talking about it. They were like, the husband really has nothing to do with the plot. It's just like, just die. And I just thought that was funny. But yeah, an enjoyable movie. Number 5. Killers of the Flower Moon, directed by Martin Scorsese, starring Lily Gladstone, Leonardo DiCaprio, and Robert De Niro. And I'm going to throw in Jesse Plemons, even though he's in like the last third of the film. Really enjoy him as an actor. But yeah, this is another one. Long, over 3 hours long, but very necessary. Could you have cut this movie down? Yes, you could have. But the information I gained, kind of like The Zone of Interest, but this is more interesting, about what happened to the Osage Nation, how they were all just being killed off for their oil rights. It was dark, it was tragic, and I think Lily Gladstone gives a very good performance. I hope she wins the Best Lead Actress award. And Leonardo DiCaprio, this is the first time I see him in a movie where, like, not since Gilbert Grape, where he's not like your handsome, stunning playboy. He's like a regular guy in this, and he looks regular. His teeth are kind of crooked. He has a little bit of a gut. And it just proves how great of an actor he is to be able to even pull this role off. And I think originally, when they were first developing the movie, he was going to be Jesse Plemons' character. He was going to be the FBI agent coming in and saving the day. But, after looking it over, he was talking to Scorsese. He was like, look, this movie should not be about white people coming in to be the superhero. This should be from the Osage Nation's point of view and studying, exactly the trauma that they went through. And I think that was a great choice for them to make. And the movie is also surprisingly funny. In its darkness, there are jokes made about how people shot, or how people are dying, or how people are gonna get killed. And like, there's this one guy, I think it was the Blackie character, he was talking to a lawyer about what would happen if my half-breed kids died, and they have oil rights and I married their mom. And he's like, are you talking about potentially murdering your kids? But the way they did the scene, it was funny. So I like that. Scorsese's a genius. He made that work out and work well. But yeah, it's an enjoyable movie. Really long, but very informative, really dark. A lot of dark subject matter in this. So, just watch knowing you're basically going to see the attempted extermination of a Native American tribe. So, I'm letting you know. Really good though, really well made. And even though it is over 3 hours, it flies by. I saw it in the theater. It did not feel like I was there the whole afternoon. So, there's that. Number 4, American Fiction, directed by Cord Jefferson is also his directorial debut, starring Jeffrey Wright, Tracy Ellis Ross, Issa Rae, Sterling K. Brown, and many other names. And this one, this is a movie I watched with my wife, and it's just kind of, I had a roundtable coming up for the African American Critics Association, and I was like, let me check this out, because I like Sterling K. Brown, I like Jeffrey Wright, I really want to be able to talk to them. When I did the roundtable, they talked so much, unfortunately, I was unable to ask my question. That was disappointing, but it was nice to hear how much they loved doing the film and their other thoughts, but just popped it in to check it out. And it was good. At the time, I was like, wow, this is an enjoyable film. I had no idea it would catch on the way it did and get into the Best Picture nominees. That's great. Very happy for Cord Jefferson in that aspect, but very dark. So here's the thing, the joke my wife and I make is that to be a Best Picture nominee, for the most part, somebody has to die in your movie. And I can say on this list, like in almost every movie, somebody does die. Of course, people die in the Zone of Interest. Somebody dies in Poor Things. Somebody dies in Oppenheimer. Somebody dies in Maestro. Kills of the Flower Moon. Somebody dies. Anatomy of a Fall. Somebody dies. And of course, in American Fiction, somebody dies. And my aunt, who also watched the movie, she said, this movie hit a little too close to home for me, and I closed my practice down because I don't want to end up like Tracy Ellis Ross's character, who worked herself to death. And I thought that was interesting. Of course, she was running her own medical practice. She's no longer doing that because she wants to enjoy life a little bit more at this stage. And I did think the whole aspect of him wanting, like being an educated black man and wanting to write these good books, but noticing like all the ghetto books are what's selling, so he writes one as a joke, and then it catches on and he's getting all these deals and whatnot. And I thought just the way it played out was great. The ending is take it or leave it. I know it's supposed to be like a meta ending, kind of like a choose your own adventure type style, but I did really want some closure to his relationship with Coraline. That would have been great. But otherwise, it was really enjoyable. I laughed, and I just think Jeffrey Wright's one of the greats. Sterling K. Brown. It's sad that he's up for Best Supporting Actor against Robert Downey Jr. because, of course, he's going to lose. Robert Downey Jr. is a lock. But if this were any other year, Sterling K. Brown would take it home easily. So, number 3, Oppenheimer, directed by Christopher Nolan, starring Cillian Murphy, Robert Downey Jr., Kenneth Branagh, Rami Malek, so many other names. Emily Blunt. Like, I could go on for the rest of this video talking about all the stars that appear in this movie. Even people appear in like bit parts, like the guy from Drake and Josh Peck. He's in it for like a minute. Josh Hartnett's back in this. So many people. I'm not going to keep going on for all the fantastic actors and actresses in this movie, but Matt Damon's in there. Like so many great stars. I really enjoyed this movie. Another long one, and another one of Christopher Nolan's biopics. He did Dunkirk before this, and then he did Tenet, and now he's back to Oppenheimer. So his next movie is probably going to be back to the sci-fi that we all love. And I like this back and forth that he's going. The one for them, one for me storyline. He might go back to Warner Brothers, whatever the theory is on that. We'll see. But like I said, I did enjoy, seeing how J. Robert Oppenheimer created the bomb with help from a lot of people. Because you kind of, when you hear about it in history, like, oh, that's the guy who created the atomic bomb. Yes, he did. But he had a team, a whole team that spanned the entire country. And there's just so much more about him, his ties to socialism, his wife, his girlfriend. One of the funniest scenes in the movie to me is when he meets Emily Blunt and she's married to this other guy. And they're in love, they fall in love, and he's like talking to his brother. He's like, well, we're going to be together. And isn't she married? We're going to have a talk with her husband about that. It's like just so matter of fact how they dealt with these things back then. It's like, look, me and your wife having an affair. She's going to be with me now. Are you okay with that? And it's like a conversation. It's not like a big deal. There probably was a big deal, but it just, like I said, the fact that we're going to have a conversation with her husband about it, I thought was interesting. The fact about, they didn't know who was a spy, the fact that all these things in this movie, and the fact that it was mentioned in Tenet, he put an Easter egg about Oppenheimer in Tenet. So people are just scraping through this movie trying to find out what's the hint at his next movie that was in this. He has said he wants to do a horror. I don't know what kind of horror you can do unless it's like in a world where, nuclear bombs are just blowing up everything. So maybe that. But yeah, thoroughly enjoyable. And if Cillian Murphy does become Doctor Doom after this, that would be great. But my personal choice after watching this movie would be Josh Hartnett. Josh Hartnett should head back over to Marvel. Kenneth Branagh too, to direct the final Thor movie. But yeah, number 2, The Holdovers, directed by Alexander Payne, starring Paul Giamatti, Divine Joy Randolph, and Dominic Sessa. And this is another movie I saw later. I hadn't really heard much about it, but it was like I had the screeners for it and I just really wanted to watch it. And when I finally sat down to watch this cozy, heartwarming, just lovable movie, everything about it was great. The fact that I watched it during Christmas time and it takes place over Christmas, I guess helped to that cozy aspect of it. And this reminds me, so I like movies that are just kind of like happening. It's just like over the course of a few days. You got like The World, Tannenbaums, that type movie. And this felt like that to me. And I just enjoyed sitting down and watching it and watching these characters' lives on the screen. And Paul Giamatti is great. Like, this is another movie that I could see if it didn't come out this year, if it was another year. This is definitely something I would say should win Best Picture. It's very well done, very well directed. Paul Giamatti is such a great actor. Like, he has so much range when you just see all the roles he's done over his career. And Divine Joy Randolph. Divine Joy Randolph is going to win an Oscar for her role in this movie. That's crazy. I really think she's going to win. And the fact is, I first heard of her and saw her in The Come Up, which is not a great movie. And her role in it is kind of meh. And that was just last year. And now she's about to win an Oscar. That should show you, if you're in this game, if you're an actor, director, whatever, you never know what role or what movie is going to thrust you into the spotlight. So you did some crap here, some crap there. That next one could be it. So keep trying. Keep trying. I'm very proud of Divine Joy Randolph. Very proud of her. And her career is about to go to the moon after this. She's going to be in you're going to see her face pop up in so many things after this. And I was actually able to talk to her because when I did on the Come Up for AAFCA Roundtable, I was able to talk to her. She gave very good answers. You can definitely tell that she really does enjoy this work. So again, very happy. And here we are. Number 1. My favorite movie of the year, Past Lives, directed by Celine Song in her directorial debut, starring Greta Lee, T.O.U. Oh, this is such a wonderful movie. It is so emotional, so well done, and this is the only movie, and I make this joke all the time. I did it in my I don't know if I actually did a review on this, but when I talk about it, this is the only movie that makes you root for somebody to get a divorce. Like, that's just what this movie is. You have these childhood, I don't know, lovers, not lovers, but you know, they were boyfriend, girlfriend in childhood in Korea. I think it was Korea. Of course, her family moves to Canada. She eventually ends up in the United States. They do like they find each other when they're older. They do a long distance thing. It doesn't work out. And then eventually they're able to see each other again. She's married now. They go through their friendship and the look in their eyes. And I tell you, you can feel it. It is palpable. They're like, why did the world pull us apart? Why did it not work out for us? I'm married now. I love my husband, but I'm supposed to be with you. You were the one. And if you look into the director Celine Song's life, I'm pretty sure this happened to her. I'm pretty sure she is Nora. Like, because Celine Song immigrated to Canada, then the United States, married a Jewish guy. It's like, and I feel bad because this is tragic, but it's so, and the thing is, you know, I joke earlier about it's the only movie that makes you want to root for a divorce. That doesn't happen in the movie. She doesn't leave her husband for this guy. It's just the thought, just knowing that she will not be with the love of her life. That, like, she doesn't cheat on him. She doesn't sleep with this guy as like a one-off. None of that happens. They just kind of reflect on their bond, on their friendship over the course of getting to re-know each other. And even the husband, he knows. He's like, yeah, you're supposed to be with this guy. I'm the bad guy here. I'm keeping you two from being together. And like at the end, like, she should have gotten that Uber. But like, she just breaks down crying. And the emotion just hit me. I saw it in like the small theater, the little artsy theater downtown Winston. And it was only me and some other lady in the theater. And I'm just like, it's just cozy. Just a cozy feeling. And of course, I own it on Blu-ray now. Definitely, you should watch. This should win Best Picture at the Oscars because it's my number 1. I think it should. Best movie of the year. Best movie I've seen in a long time. It is not going to win that is going to go to Oppenheimer, of course. We know. Christopher Nolan deserves it. I'm happy for him, but man, Past Lives. If Past Lives could win Best Movie and Christopher Nolan just win Best Director, that's only happened a few times where different movies win each, but man, just Past Lives, such a great movie. So, this is my list. I hope you guys enjoyed listening to me. I can't wait to see the Oscars to actually see who actually won. But I'd like to thank you guys for tuning in to listen to me ramble. I've actually reviewed about half of these films, so the links will be in the description below so you can read my reviews on those. If you want to read the reviews or just visit the site, the website is flipfrogllc.com/flixfrog. Remember, you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Reddit. And please, pretty please, make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. Subscribe to the YouTube channel and the Facebook page. Anything and everything Flip Frog, Flixfrog, Flip Frog Books, make sure you hit that subscribe button. And until next year, I'll be seeing you.